Welcome in, everyone. This is Sean here with MTG808 Jr. And today I am joined by Mike.
What's up?
And Eric.
Hello, hello.
And we are going to be recapping our Youth Standard Pauper Championship Scholarship Tournament that happened last weekend. That's a mouthful, but we got to come up with a better name for that. But it was a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone who came out. We had 9 youth players competing. Our smallest scholarship tournament yet.
Lots of new faces, though.
Yeah, some new faces. I think we had like a ton of people that were like, "Oh, I wish I could come, but it's the holidays," or there's like school events that are going on. So,
don't sweat. We have one coming up in May.
So this was our This was number 4.
Yes.
And this was our 4th scholarship tournament, and the 5th one will be coming up in May. So hope to see everybody there. So we had 9 players competing. Our top 4 here, we're gonna be doing a close look at their deck list. We had Jansen, JP, Santino, and Isaiah. So Santino and Isaiah, they came in top 4, even though this is their first scholarship tournament each.
Very exciting.
I think this was Isaiah's like 2nd or 3rd tournament ever.
Yeah.
And Santino, he's played maybe like a dozen or so, but he just started playing 6 months ago, right? Jansen and JP, anyone following the channel, they are no strangers.
They've been around for a bit.
They've been dominating the last couple tournaments. So we're going to take a look at their deck list. But first, none of this would be possible without the support of our lovely patrons. So all the scholarship money that we give away, all the prize money that we give away, all the tech that we are able to purchase in order to make these videos and all of that. None of that would be possible without our patrons, so shout out to all of you guys.
Big mahalos.
And, so if you want to support the project, of course, watching the videos, hitting that like button, leaving a comment, subscribing to the channel, all of that will be great support for us. If you want to go above and beyond, check out the Patreon page. Even just $1 a month would be a huge help.
Yes.
So check it out if you are interested in supporting the project and growing youth magic here on the island. Also, we haven't updated it very recently, but we do have a WordPress page. So if you want to see text coverage of our tournaments, go check out our WordPress page. We'll have a link to that in the description. And our YouTube channel.
Yes.
So we did live stream the entire event. A solid 6 hours of we played 4 rounds of Swiss, cut to top 4, semifinals, finals, and then the end boss match. And so 6 hours of live streaming. If you want to catch any of the action, go check it out. This particular screenshot was of the finals of Jansen here on the left and JP over on the right. So if you want to see any of the action, get any analysis or feedback on what I was thinking about the matches, it's very insightful. Right, one of the best ways to get better at Magic is watching other people play, or even if you were on camera, watching the decisions that you made, and then thinking, what would I do in this situation? Right, hearing what other people would do in this situation. That's one of the best ways to get better. So go check out the YouTube channel. We'll have a link to that in the description as well. And last shameless plug, our upcoming events. We are recording this just before the holidays, so once the holidays end, we are going to be hitting the ground running. January 4th, Youth Standard Pauper over at Planet. Doors open at noon. Tournament starts at 1. Usual $1 entry fee.
Yes.
Swiss rounds cut to single elimination. And then January 11th over at MiniQ, their new location. Right? This is our first time at their new location over at Pearl Ridge. So very excited to see.
It's a very nice location.
Yeah, right in the mall too. That's big game. So check that out. That is January 11th. That's both of these are Saturdays.
Yes.
And then after that, the weekend after that is Theros Beyond Death pre-release.
Yes.
Right?
Theros.
So
17th?
New set coming out. So pre-release is, what is it?
17th.
They start on Friday at midnight, right?
No,
They actually start
that's
at
FNM.
FNM. So it's January 17th is Theros pre-release weekend. and then it releases the 24th. Yeah. So we got just 4 weekends in a row of nonstop action. We have not yet scheduled our first tournament for Theros Beyond Death, but we do have a big announcement that we'll be releasing pretty soon with the some changes will be happening when Theros drops. So keep your eyes peeled for that. All right, shameless plugs aside.
All right, let's get
going back to our top 4. Jansen, JP. They came first and second, and then I think Santino was third, and Isaiah was fourth. So we're going to start here with fourth place, Isaiah. So this is like his second tournament ever, right?
He played more. He played a few. Oh, this is
second or third.
About third.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. He is like the only student from his school who has come to tournaments. I think there's maybe a couple more kids there that play. But they haven't come out to any of the tournaments. But man, was Isaiah pumped up about making top 4?
He was hungry.
He ended up coming in fourth. It was a clean cut, so he didn't have to sweat his tiebreakers or anything. But for a while, we didn't think that he was going to make it because we the way that the bye is published on the standings, we thought that somebody had a bye into the top 4, which would have been weird. So we thought he was going to come in 5th, but he ended up coming in 4th, and man, was he ecstatic. So big shout-outs to Isaiah. He did brew this deck on his own. He had a little bit of help tuning it from his teacher. What is his teacher's name?
Mr. Robert Black. Shout-outs to him. Yeah,
big shout-outs. Anyone who supports Magic players at school, right? We would not be able to do this project without you. So, Isaiah wanted to play Life Gain, right?
Yes.
It's kind of not so much a cliche, but like a go-to thing for new players to just really like gaining life.
You just like seeing that number rack up,
right? Like it's like it's not so much about winning as it is about not losing, right? Like you can't kill me, and this feels great. So we see him playing decks. All of these life gain cards: Banehound, 1 mana lifelink haste, Thirsting Shade, 1 mana lifelink, pay 3 mana to make it bigger. And then the Blood Burglar, 2 mana 2/2 lifelink on your turn. Child of Night, 2 mana 2/1 lifelink. And then Epicure of Blood is kind of the big payoff for this deck, right? 5 mana 4/4. Whenever you gain a life, each opponent loses 1 life. So you have all these lifelink creatures. You're padding your life total,
and you're pecking them down.
Yeah.
And then you slam Epicure of Blood, and you just kind of try to close the game.
Even his other spells too. You got Agonizing Siphon, you got Sorin's Thirst, Ill-Gotten.
Lots of life gain. Sorin's Thirst 2 damage, gain 2 life. Agonizing Siphon 3 damage, gain 2 life. I didn't realize this could go to players.
Yep.
Right? I saw him nug somebody with it, and I was like, oh yeah, that card can do that. And then Ill-Gotten Inheritance can just kind of like give him the death of 1,000 cuts, right? His other spells in here, Blade Brand, we saw him use this card over and over again at the tournament, right? Attack with my team, you block, Blade Brand, the guy that you block, draw a card, we make a trade, right? And then this one is really sweet with the lifelink creatures. Unlikely a 2 mana instant target creature gets +2/+0 and indestructible until end of turn. So you make your lifelink creatures bigger, they survive through combat, you gain more life.
Yep. Gain the life, you trade.
Yeah, so the deck definitely has a lot of synergies. It knows what it's trying to do. The cards play well together. Only piece of feedback I would give him here is the land count is pretty high. Right? He's got 3 5-mana cards, 3 4-mana cards, or I guess 6 4-mana cards. And the rest of his deck costs like 1 or 2 mana.
Yeah.
So he could probably get away with like 21, maybe 22 lands if he wanted to be really safe. Just because we did see him flood out sometimes, especially against like the mid-range decks. So just that's one piece of feedback. I would also love to see, him max out on Epicure of Blood, since that really is like his synergy payoff card, and maybe even Ill-Gotten Inheritance.
Yeah.
Giant Skewer.
Yes, I was telling Mike that Giant Skewer kind of plays really nicely, right? It's a 1 black, 1 colorless equipment. Pay 3 to equip it. Equip creature gets +2/+1, and whenever it deals damage to a creature, you make a food. Right? So you make a food, so you're gaining life. You're making your lifelink creatures bigger, and then it just gives you kind of a monosync to use later in the game, so that you're not you have a fighting chance against a lot of the slower decks, which we did see him struggle with throughout the day. He was just cleaning up the aggro decks, though.
Oh yeah. They were everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like we saw Mesa Unicorn and Bishop Soldier kind of dominate the previous season, the 2-mana 2/2 lifelinkers, and I feel like Isaiah took that strategy and just like quadrupled down on it. So shout outs to Isaiah putting together a very strong deck and a very strong finish for his second or third tournament ever, first scholarship tournament ever. We look forward to seeing great things out of Isaiah in the future. And a sideboard.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like for newer players, sideboards can sometimes be a trap.
Yeah.
But it was definitely apparent when he was going into game 2 and 3 against like Jansen and JP, and they were like, now I have all these even better cards against you.
Got all the answers.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I would recommend too, maybe upping the Witch's Cottage and finding other forms of recursion, like Soul Salvage.
Soul Salvage,
just
or what is the...
Forever Young?
Yeah, that's the one. You love that card.
Yeah. Well, just because you sort of run out of gas really quickly, so having just some way to constantly get more relevant cards would be really nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe Audacious Thief too. I know it's not a lifelink creature, but with all the life he's getting, I'm sure he'd be fine using Audacious Thief to draw cards and lose life.
I love drawing me some cards. So those cards might find their way into the main deck. They might just belong in the sideboard. I think it's really his call.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome deck. Love to see some innovation. Like, this was not a deck that was on any of our radars.
I think this was the one that you wanted to see, right? You just wanted to see a mono black aggro.
I think when M20 came out, I was really excited about mono black aggro.
Yeah.
And it just never really came together. So I guess the lifelink package is what it needed.
Looks like there's still hope.
Yeah. All right. So third place, Santino, third grader.
Fourth grade.
Fourth grader.
Yeah.
Okay. So fourth grader. That's still like he was the youngest person in the top 4, right? Just started playing like at the beginning of this season, right?
Yeah.
When Throne came out, or just before Throne came out?
Oh no, just before.
Okay. And you made this deck for him, right?
Oh, that was me.
Oh, this is a Mr. Eric special. So how about you tell us a little bit about your reasoning behind these card choices? Green, black, mid-range?
Yeah, we wanted to make a nice and simple mid-range deck with a really good endgame. The endgame being Sanitarium Skeleton and Spark Reaper. Having that 6 mana, or I guess 7 mana combo where you would just regain all of your life back and get such a card advantage out of it. Just real good. And then you have your typical black removal, Reave Soul, Cruelty, and then Soul Salvage just to get everything back just in case anything happens.
Yeah. I do like that all of these cards, just on sheer power level, are all great.
Yeah.
And then you also just have this like end game engine.
And the Sanitarium Skeleton and Lazotep Reaper also help against, or Reaver. They also help against all of the aggro decks that are just bouncing around. So
we saw Isaiah play against this deck in round 1, and then Isaiah played against Jansen in round.
I think it's quarters.
In round 3.
Was it round 3?
I think so, yeah.
Or was it in the semifinals?
Semis. It was semis.
Okay, so he played against Jansen and he played against Santino, and both of them.
Or Isaiah.
Well, Isaiah played against Santino and Jansen, and both of them, when they played a Lazotep Reaver, he was just like, oh god.
Yeah.
He had so many 1 toughness creatures, and he was just like, run my Child of Night into your token. And it felt really bad. So this deck definitely has the tools to kind of beat up on the other aggro decks, and then the Spark Reaper Sanitarium Skeleton kind of gives him some endgame hope against some of the slower decks as well.
Also, when finalizing the deck, we noticed that like flyers was gonna be a thing. So I worked with Eric to kind of make some tweaks. So main boarding Snare Spinner, and adding a bit more removal, especially of Nixilis Cruelty.
Yeah.
So I think that was those are big, especially for what the metagame was.
And since you don't have a sideboard either, you kind of need to just stick on the main board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a slower green mid-range deck, so I think main decking a card like Snare Spinner is completely fine, right? It's just a 2 mana 1/3. It's a great blocker. right? It's going to get you to the turns where you're going to be overpowering your opponent.
Exactly.
So I think that's a completely fine main deck inclusion. Did see a couple times on camera where he
activated.
I think he like could have soul salvaged. He was like in a late game, like needed a bunch of gas and soul salvaged and didn't get back Spark Reaper. When he did have a skeleton as well. So I think like correctly identifying when you want to go for power versus when you want to go for card advantage. I think that's just one of those like subtle decisions that making the right decision in those situations just comes with experience.
Yeah. When you're in the moment with the camera on you, you kind of...
Yeah. But I mean, that's not a knock on his playability, right? Like he played great. Definitely. That's just one area where I think many of the youth players might have
He got this deck the week of, right?
Oh yeah, the week
he got the deck
on the Friday.
He got his deck the week
Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, especially considering that he played it very well. So, I like this deck. Would love to see what it can do with a sideboard and maybe with a couple more reps under his belt with it. So, congratulations to Santino for coming in third place. And of note, Isaiah and Santino both walked away with Brawl precons, right? They did play their
they had to play for third,
their tiebreaker for third and fourth. And do you know which one Santino took? Did he get the Bant one or the Mardu one?
Santino got the Bant one.
Okay, yeah. So Santino got the Bant Brawl deck, and then Isaiah got the Mardu Knights Brawl deck. So congratulations to both of them. Just outside of the scholarship money, but they did walk away with a sweet prize.
Oh yeah.
All right, so second place, we saw the Juggernauts, right? Everybody's favorites going in. They met in the finals, which was very fitting. I think they drew with each other in round 4, right?
Because they're both 3-0, I think.
Yeah.
Are they both 3? Yeah, 3-0.
No, I think didn't JP have a draw already?
Oh, you drew against. I forgot already.
I don't remember who he drew against, but I think he had a draw. But I think that put Jansen in first and then JP was in third. And so then they didn't play against each other until the finals. But JP's just been tweaking this mono green aggro deck. I'm very convinced that this is the best aggro deck of the format currently. 3 Frilled Sandwalla, Ginger Brute. We saw him top deck Ginger Brute to close out games multiple times on camera. Where he's just like, oh, my opponent's at 1. I guess I'll just draw this Ginger Brute.
I can't block.
Yep. When I was talking to Jansen before their match, he was like, Ginger Brute is the card that I'm most scared of. He's like, yeah, the 4 toughness dudes, like, I have some time, some trouble killing the Witch Stalker, right? I have to kind of 2-for-1 it if I don't have a murder, but Ginger Brute is the card that is the scariest. So
can't catch it.
Yep. So we see 11 1-drops. He got Sedge Scorpion into the main deck here. Oh no, the 15 1-drops. So Sedge Scorpion and Wildwood Tracker. Yeah. So 15 1-drops, Sauroform Hybrid on 2. I think I like that, right? Like the other options on 2, for the mono green deck, we were talking about the Maraform Rider or whatever it's called, the sack of food, provoke a dude. And yeah, the card quality just wasn't there. So I think it's fine, like just playing your awesome 1-drops, maxing on your awesome 1-drops, and then just having Sauroform Hybrid on 2. Arlen's Wolf on 3, right? We saw this run past Jansen's Aven Eternals and Lazotep Reavers over and over again. And then Fierce Witch Stalker on 4. 3 Rosethorn Halberds. He wasn't always playing this card since Throne came out, but it did make its way into the main deck here. And we saw it be great over and over again, right? Putting this on a Ginger Brute. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Putting it on Arlen's Wolf, putting it on a Fierce Witch Stalker. Very powerful card. I think this was in all of our top 10, right? For Throne of Eldraine.
Makes a good impersonation of a shock.
Yeah. So, like, you see that his curve is 15 1-drop creatures and then 3 Rosethorn Halberds, 4 Giant Growth. So we saw him play multiple games where he was just like stuck on 2 mana.
Yeah, and
then just like staying in the game.
Yep.
Right? His opponent was just like curving out, and he was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go toe to toe with you with my 1-drop spells because they're all just so good.
Can you answer this? Can you answer this?
I think such Scorpion's already threatening as it is too, just because it has Death Touch.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, all of his 1-drops are great. I would love to see the 4th Frilled Sandwalla. You guys know how I feel about Frilled Sandwalla. But, like, all of his 1-drops are great, and then, you know, he is able to just play 20 lands and have a really smooth deck. I don't really like the Insatiable Appetite inclusion.
Okay, so what happened was, when me and JP were working together with the deck, I was just like, yeah, we can just try this out, see how it works for a couple days, and we just never removed it because he never wanted to remove it.
Okay,
But, yeah, no, I agree. I think Growth Cycle or even Titanic Growth would be something fine or something better that you would put in.
Yeah, like sacrificing a food. Yeah. The deck doesn't make that much food.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not even always going to have the option to make it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then even when you do have the option, you're not always going to want to use it. Right? So I think, like, I would rather just have Growth Cycle.
Yeah, totally agree.
Because, like, Growth Cycle will always scale. Yep. So
always got to test out cards, though. See if they're good or not.
We did see JP's presence of a sideboard maybe bite him in the butt a little bit, because he did sideboard a little, what I would consider unintuitively against Jansen. Where
I don't know why he wouldn't, like...
He, like, brought in Healer of the Glade. And I think he brought in Snare Spinner, too, against Jansen.
I guess his flyers, that's...
Midrange.
Yeah, I see why, but...
Like, I understand, like, oh, he has flyers, I want to be able to block them, but at the same time, like, he won game 1 off of just, like, pressuring Jansen, getting him to a low life total, and then top-decking Ginger Brute to win, right? Whereas when you sideboard into slower 2-drops that are built to be defensive, you're not maximizing the role that you need to play in the matchup, right? If the game goes long, Jansen wins.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, like, siding in Healer of the Glade, which is not an aggressive card, siding in Snare Spinner, which is not an aggressive card, I think, like, makes his game plan that he needs to execute against Jansen a lot weaker. So
I think I would have put it at least Return to Nature. Return to Nature and Pulse Marasa.
Pulse, I think, is okay, just because, like, Jansen's deck is so full of removal, and you just want to, like, go get back your Ginger Brood or your Arlen's Wolf that's going to run past their dudes. I wouldn't even hate Prize Unicorn, just because Jansen's deck with the Amass creatures, it was so good at mucking up the board. But why Return to Nature?
Well, because of the Devious Cover-Up. If he's targeting cards, he can just...
but again, like, the reasoning behind trying to attack the Devious Cover-Up, like, I think Jansen wants to side out Devious Cover-Up in this matchup, right? The matchup is not going to come down to him decking out JP, right? The matchup is going to come down to, is JP able to go under him, or is Jansen going to be able to stabilize? So I don't think you want to try and fight on those axes. You just want to try and maximize your aggressive game plan, because that's how you're going to win. The game goes long, he already loses, right? If we get to the point where Devious Cover-Up, shuffling in a second Devious Cover-Up is the breaking point of the matchup, like, JP lost a long time ago.
That's true.
So, sideboarding is probably, I think, just in terms of Magic in general, not even just this format, the hardest part is mulligan decisions, and then sideboarding are, like, the two hardest things in Magic. So, having a sideboard can, as we said, sometimes it can be a trap, but
it's just a skill you gotta learn.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to be asking yourself that question: what is my goal in this matchup? It's not just what cards are good against his cards. In theory, it's what am I trying to accomplish in this matchup, and what cards are going to help me maximize my odds of executing that.
Exactly.
But congratulations to JP. I mean, like, very dominant performance. Top 4 of the last scholarship tournament, second place this one. I mean, like, on this trajectory, I mean, he just has to win the next one, right? Right.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. But what is he? 5th grade? 5th grade.
He got some time.
Yeah, he's got a long career ahead of him. All right. First place.
Yes. Oh, man.
Big juggernaut Jansen here. Blue-black mid-range. This has been his pet deck for a long time. Like, not as long as JP's been playing mono green, but
just a slow evolution of this.
Yeah.
So it's blue-black, just like value,
just
right?
Play all the best cards.
Lazotep Reaver is sometimes a 2-for-1. Aven Eternal is sometimes a 2-for-1. Cloudkin Seer is almost always a 2-for-1. And then just a whole bunch of 1-for-1 removal and counter spells, and then a little bit of card draw.
Yep.
We did tweet this from the last that one tournament where JP won, because I think this deck will probably didn't do so well against tokens. So because previous builds he had 4 Ravenous Rats and 3 and Audacious Thief. So we switched them up for the Mass Creature, so he has some game against tokens based decks. Which
if I remember correctly, he lost against Liam's tokens deck. Right?
Yeah, he lost against Liam.
Yeah, so like playing to the board, having a go wide presence really helps to shore up those matchups. As I was saying earlier, we saw him play against Isaiah, and Lazotep Reaver just like stonewalled all of his creatures, right? So, and you know, Burglar Rat is a clean 2-for-1 because you get the card out of their hand. Lazotep Reaver is like sort of a 2-for-1 if you're able to like block 2 creatures with it, which he was able to do against Isaiah's deck. So yeah, what is this? 4, 7, 10, 13 straight removal spells. There's 4 counter spells in the main deck. The Devious Cover-Up Loop, where the second one can shuffle in the first one and then you never deck out. Dimir Locket, Tamiel's Epiphany, Winged Words as card draw to supplement the Cloudkin Seer. 22 lands. Yeah, I do like this deck. I could see an argument for him going to 23 lands, just because we did see him get a little mana screwed a couple times.
Yeah.
The deck is very, very mana hungry because you're just like churning through so many resources. So I think like erring on the side of more lands versus fewer lands is fine. We did see him. He said going into the final match with JP, I know exactly how I'm going to sideboard.
Yep.
Right. So I think he brought in the So Tinies.
He brought in the Vapors.
Yeah, he brought in the Vapors to have more answers to Ginger Brute, right? With JP's emphasis on 1-drops, Vapors just like cleans up all of them, right?
Yeah.
He brought in the Cruelties. I don't know if he brought in the Takedowns.
But his sideboard was more meant to take on the aggro decks.
Yeah, so he knew exactly how he wanted to sideboard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what he did, but he was very confident in it, which is a
very
good sign.
It was in the video, like right after the match. You can see what he pulled out. You probably catch that.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look for it. So congratulations to Jansen. Did he lose at all?
No.
He was undefeated in the Swiss, right? Drew with JP in round 4, and then walked through the elimination matches. So congratulations to Jansen. Took home $500 in scholarship, and JP had $250 in scholarship, and both of them. We did not have the Esper Brawl deck, so we had 2 copies of the Jund Brawl deck.
I think that's a good.
Yeah, on paper the Esper one is worth more, but I think like since Corvold is insanely expensive now, it might flip flop.
Yeah, so, and they're enjoying it. They've been playing with it during our
nice.
club.
I'm glad that it's getting use. Yeah, Brawl seems to be like the perfect format for these kids.
Yeah.
So congratulations to both of them. Jansen did play the end boss match against Mr. Ulip. And you were playing Is It Midrange, which is a deck you let Skylar play. Skylar lost his winning in against Santino in round 4. Yeah. So we might have seen this deck in the top 4. We might have seen it win the tournament, and then you wouldn't have been able to use it in the end boss match.
I would have to find another deck to use.
You would have had to borrow Jansen's deck.
Yeah, but those are 2 crazy games.
Yes, so... Well, it went to...
It did go to game 3, but those are 2 crazy games.
Yeah, game 3, Jansen just got auto screwed, and then you like curved out all your value creatures. But game 1... Okay, so Is It Midrange, right? Burning Prophet, Aven Eternal, Cloudkin Seer, Watcher in the Mist, Humongulus. Very similar shell as Jansen's deck, just with different tools in a lot of the same spots. So instead of Deadweight, or instead of Disfigure, it's Shock. Instead of Reef Soul, it's Jaya's Greeting. Right, he was playing Soren's Thirst, right?
Mhm.
So
Soren
instead of
and
that,
Reeve
you
Soul.
got Scorching Jab and Fire. You still have the 2 Didn't Say Please, 2 Devious Cover Up.
You do get Hypothesis.
You get
Yeah.
Hypothesis, whereas he had Tamio's Epiphany,
Mhm.
right? You still get your Locket. You are playing 23 lands, so you get my stamp of approval, right? Instead of Boneclad Necromancer, you have Watcher in the Mist. So very similar blueprint, just different tools plugged into the different spots in the curve.
Literally a blueprint.
I felt like what
But
I felt like watching the Abyss was like more of a liability though, because of Reeve Soul, because it's 3 power.
in that particular
Yeah.
matchup, yes.
But just surveilling is really nice.
Yeah, I do like surveilling. So in game 1, we saw you like win a key counter war early, where
Yeah.
you were able to devious cover up his devious cover up, and so then he only had 1 devious cover up left in his deck, and he had to try and counter your second devious cover up to like keep you from decking him out.
Yep.
But I think you won that second counter war
Yeah.
where your second devious cover up resolved, and then at that point he was out of gas and you killed him with creatures, but you were also going to win the long game
Yeah.
where you would just deck him out eventually, because there's only 4 counter spells in the main deck.
Yeah.
So that was a fascinating game 1. Game 2,
I was like,
you guys
he just stabilized after I think I
right.
ran out of gas.
Right. I thought for sure that you were gonna close out game 2, but he was just like, nope.
Yeah.
I think you were like pressuring him, you got him pretty low, and then you used your counter spell to like try and protect one of your creatures, and then because you used your counter spell on that, he was able to resolve something like a card draw spell or something, I don't know, and then he just like started pulling ahead, like drew into more removal, killed your creatures, and then the game was kind of even for a while, and then he started drawing more card draw spells.
He started picking up life. I got him down to like maybe 5. I think then he got himself back up to like 11.
Yeah.
And like,
There was a pretty cool part of the game where I think there was like just them removing the same creatures, each other's creatures.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we both just have tons of removal in our hand. I guess I'll use my disfigure on your 1/1 zombie token.
I'm gonna shot this.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill your
disfigure
Aven
this.
Eternal, and I'm gonna kill your Cloud Conceer.
And they were the same creatures too.
Yeah. I think when playing like playing against Jansen with this deck, I think we both have the idea that we got to get rid of the flyers.
Yeah, the flyers were definitely like pressuring each other. The zombie tokens and Lazotep Reavers kind of just stared at each other. But yeah, if you are thinking about picking up a slower blue mid-range deck, go watch that end boss match, because that was just like a crash course in like figuring out what you need to value in, because the control mirrors, like they were both mid-range decks that kind of morph into control decks after sideboard, and those mirror matches are so non-intuitive in terms of like how they play out versus how other matchups play out. So if you're at all interested in playing a slower mid-range control deck, go check out that part of the live stream.
It's also a good example how, like, I know a lot of players, when they start playing Magic, especially the kids, they feel like their life is very precious. So like it's a good way to show like how I use my life as a resource.
Yeah. And it was especially when you're playing these slower decks that are planning on taking over in the later turns. In the early game, you need to be using your life total as a resource for sure. So yeah, go check out that that part of the live stream. I think it starts about 5 hours and 15 minutes in.
5 hours.
Yeah, it was just one straight shot. So yeah, that is it.
Ooh. Yep. I would say Goblin Gathering and Devious Cover Up Loop is actually pretty fun.
Yeah, we never. You sided in Goblin Gathering, and then in game 2 you cast it, and you were like, "Oh, this doesn't do anything because I'm just dead to your flyers." So that happened. But yeah,
good way to end the year.
Yeah, it was a great tournament for everyone who came. Everyone who missed it, hopefully we'll catch you at the next one. And yeah, again, shout out to our top 4. Jansen, JP, Santino, and Isaiah, and then everyone else
everyone
that came out.
there.
Big props to Dirtle Zone for hosting.
Yes.
They also donated
Mahalos.
A lot of extra prizes for the kids, so thank you for that. As you can see, they all have sleeves and deck boxes and stuff that got showered upon them by the store, so big shout out to them.
Shout out to Dave for bringing pizza.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Espina. Did not have any kids come to this one, but he did bring the pizza, so
Yes.
thank you for that.
True hero.
Yeah, I don't know what we would have done. All right, any final thoughts?
No, like we just look forward to what we will look forward to the next scholarship tournament. Yeah, we can see a lot of changes coming up.
Yeah.
So
This the May scholarship tournament will be my final scholarship tournament while living on the island. I am planning on moving this summer, so you guys are gonna have to spread your wings and fly without me after this next one. So you guys will do great.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm confident we can do this. We can do this.
Yeah, of course you can. All right, that is it for us. Thank you for stopping by.
Yes.
And if you want to support us, again, subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment, or check out the Patreon page.
Yes.
All right, that is it for us. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Later.
See ya.